Hey there, mamas. Thank you for joining another episode of Beyond Motherhood. My voice is a little croaky. I've been quite unwell the last week or so, and the kids have been too. And you know what it's like when you're trying to parent while you're sick and while your kids are sick. And even though I've had the last few days on my own, it's still not easy. But anyway, it's okay. I'm going to slowly get there, but this episode actually relates to a bit of what I just shared with you, and really something that hit home to me last week specifically. I'll set the scene for you. So every other Wednesday night when I don't have the kids, I have, I'm going to say, a date for myself, but it's with other people. I go to dancing. And it's something I've been doing for a year now. It's brings me so much joy, and it was a chance for me to let loose a bit, to build my confidence, to tap into that sensuality, to feel free, and to connect with a community that I absolutely adore and love. But last week, I only get to go every 2 weeks, but I had to make the decision last Wednesday. That was really huge for me. And that was deciding not to go. Even though I booked in the class, I was so looking forward to it. I decided not to go. And so you might be thinking, what's the big deal? It's just a dance class. But for me, it was something so much deeper. It was about listening to what my body truly needed, even when my mind was screaming, go, 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 you can do it, you look forward to this, all of those things. But here's the thing, dancing is one of those things I always prioritize because, like I said, it lights me up, it just brings me so much joy. But last week I was super and utterly exhausted physically from being sick, and with that emotionally and mentally just so drained. I was really, really feeling drained. A week of sickness, like I said, for both me and the kids, topped off with having very disrupted sleep and just poor sleep. And I was just feeling like I was running on empty. And my body really was just begging for me to just let it rest. And even though I had some serious FOMO, because I really wanted to go, my heart wanted to go, I knew in my bones and deep down that what I needed more was to slow down and to rest and to let my body just recharge and be still and recover. So it got me thinking, how often do we as mums ignore that inner voice and ignore the thing that's telling us to rest, to slow down, to just be? And I used to be the queen of pushing through and soldering on, and no matter how tired or run down I felt, I'd just keep at it because, there's the to-do list. And when you're mums especially, I mean, even when I wasn't a mum, that was kind of my default, but especially when becoming a mum, we've got so many more responsibilities and things we have to look after and people we have to tend to and in our care. So I had really bought into this hustle and grind mentality that really just tells us to keep going no matter what. And it honestly really didn't serve me. And this maybe sounds a bit familiar for you too. And, for years I thought that was the only way to do it, just to keep pushing, keep moving, keep hustling. But like I said, that mindset, it did not serve me one bit. And to be honest, I was constantly anxious, always in on mode, really had trouble switching off. And really, honestly, I felt very little fulfillment when I was in that mode, because not only was I not able to sit and be and reflect and notice the little things and all of that, but it just kind of almost got me into this way of just forgetting what life is truly about. And I know that's not just me. I know so many of us are caught up in this cycle, believing that we have to do it all, we have to be it all, and we should never let anything slip away or be put on the back burner because, you know, all these like, what if this happens or what if that we can kind of loop on and get stuck in. But you know, I have learned the hard way in many ways, and I know that burnout isn't a badge of honor. It certainly isn't. It's really a sign that we're living out of alignment in our bodies, with our bodies and with our needs and our true self. And that for me showed up in various ways, specifically through sickness. Hello. For me, back in my 20s and even after having my first son, it showed up in recurring tonsillitis and throat infections and upper respiratory tract infections and feeling really fatigued and drained. And the more that I sort of pushed, the worse I got. Like I have friends that used to say to me, oh my gosh, you're always sick. And it's true, I was getting throat infections and things like every other month nearly at one point for a good, I say a couple of years, but it could have been more. Like I felt like it was as soon as I'd get better, I'd have a week and then I was going downhill again. Because I wasn't allowing myself to rest. I wasn't listening to what my body needed. And as mums, we're often in survival mode, right? We're just trying to get through the day without everything falling apart. And yes, there are times that we have to push through in a way because let's face it, we have little humans that rely on us and we have responsibilities. But not everything is urgent. Not everything has to be done today. Some things can wait and some things can fall off the list and some things can be reprioritized. And that's okay. And that is one of the most powerful lessons that I've learned. And really, another lesson is just that listening to my body and honoring what my body needs is really key to feeling more nourished. And when I started to tune into what my body was telling me, whether it was to rest, whether it was to slow down, whether it was saying no and not going to all the social things, I began to notice this shift. I wasn't feeling as anxious. I wasn't feeling as depleted and exhausted. And I started to feel a little bit more like myself, like a whole human being again. And that can be difficult because we are, so many of us, wired to be in on mode all the time. And it can be difficult to slow down because it feels so foreign to us. And then there's also the guilt, because I know that it's real. As mums, we feel guilty about pretty much everything and anything. Taking time for ourselves, saying no to something we love, or even just resting. There's guilt that we feel because we feel like we should be doing something. But what if we reframed? What if we reframed that guilt, instead of seeing it as selfish or I'm lazy because I need to rest? And that's a big one for me. Start seeing it as this act, almost this act of self-preservation. When we honor our needs, we're not just doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for our kids. We're doing it for our family and everyone we care about, because a nourished, rested, grounded mama is going to show up 100 times more than she wants to, or that she wants to, than if she's feeling burnt out and exhausted. So I'll say that again. If a nourished, rested, grounded mama can show up so much better than a depleted, exhausted one. Because when we get into that mode, when we're exhausted and burnt out, I know for me, that's when I'm snappier. That's when my window of tolerance is smaller. That's when I'm just cranky and just not loving life as much as I would like. So as I said, last week, Wednesday night, I chose rest over dancing. And the world didn't end. The class went on without me. I got to rest my body, which is what it was craving and needed. And it was in itself a bit of a small win, a small victory, but also a reminder that it's okay to prioritize myself. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to listen to what my body is telling me and honor that. And for any of you listening that may be in the same place, burnt out or overwhelmed or just trying to keep all those plates spinning in the air, I want you to know this. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to be everything to everyone all of the time. You can give yourself permission to slow down. You can give yourself permission to rest and to just be, even for a very short period of time, for 5 minutes, if that's all you have available to you. Because when you do, you're not just taking care of yourself, as I said, you're also showing up in the way that your kids and family need you to, and that you desire to show up as well. So, my challenge for you this week is to just take a moment to check in with yourself and just check in to see what your body needs right now. And if that's hard for you, just allowing yourself to pause and to feel. And if there's any tension or if there's any sensations, like just move your body. This doesn't have to be something that you're just sitting still and doing nothing. There are so many ways that I nourish and slow down, and I'm not just being still, because that can feel really foreign and at times unsafe. So even thinking of writing down, like, what can you let go of? And just intuitively just let whatever comes through come through without putting any meaning on it. Or what can wait until tomorrow? What's something on your to-do list that is not essential, that is not going to matter if you do it today or tomorrow or next week? And importantly, or most importantly, probably, how can you honor yourself in a way that leaves you feeling nourished and supported? So you might want to journal on these questions. You might want to just sit with these questions and see what comes through. And like I said, coming from a place of curiosity, not judgment, and without putting meaning on things. If something comes through, like, become curious. Okay, I wonder why that came through. It might be not going to the gym. It might be instead going for a short stroll around the block, which again, I did that last week because I knew going to the gym and doing weights and things was not going to serve me. Being outside and just walking, not even a fast walk, just a stroll around the block in the fresh air in the morning was what I needed. Because you deserve it. You deserve to feel like yourself again. You deserve to prioritize yourself and what your body needs so that you're finding more joy in motherhood and you're thriving and not just surviving. And so I'm going to finish up there for today, and thank you so much for tuning in. And if this episode resonated with you, do share it with a mama who might need to hear it as well. We are all in this together. We're not meant to do this alone. So until next time, just really take care of yourself and know that you are worth it. Your needs and your desires are so worthy. See you next week, beautiful mama.